This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 16th day of April in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Days after he announced that the government, through the Guyana Power and Light Company, had signed a 2-year agreement with UCC Holdings of Qatar for the supply of 36 megawatts of power using a power ship, President Irfan Ali today said GPL should answer questions related to the cost of having the power ship in Guyana for 2 years.
I think that the detail of the cost and so, GPL would have those details.
When contacted this afternoon, the CEO of GPL said he would return our call. He never did. The power ship, which is expected to arrive in Guyana within 3 weeks, is intended to offer critical support to the Guyana Power and Light Company, which is currently experiencing significant challenges due to its inability to meet the current demand for electricity, according to the government. The severe shortfall in electricity has resulted in blackouts being experienced almost daily in areas across the Marara and Berbice. President Ali is adamant that the power ship will provide much needed relief to those affected by the current spate of power outages. However, concerns are being raised about whether it is economically feasible for the country to charter the power ship for a period of 2 years instead of procuring additional generating sets as a permanent remedy. The president said procuring the services of the power supply ship is a feasible decision and one that the government stands firmly behind.
There are very few companies that can give you this power in 15 days. We have been able to get this power in 15 days. I congratulate all those who help us to get here.
But do you think it's a feasible plan?
Of course it's feasible.
When you look at the figures, we don't know what the figures are.
Of course, I'm saying to you, of course it's feasible. I spoke about it. We have a need now. We have a need.
Opposition Member of Parliament David Patterson has warned that the use of the power ship as a temporary fix to the electricity crisis facing the country would not be feasible and could saddle the country with a multi-million US dollar bill. But President Irfan Ali maintains that the move to acquire the emergency power covering a 2-year period is necessary because GPL currently lacks the capacity to meet the current demand for electricity.
I said to you that there are a number of problems. One of it is capacity. The exponential growth and the lack of capacity. How do you get capacity? You have to buy capacity. You can't wish that capacity will come and the problem will solve. You have to buy capacity.
While making the announcement last Friday, the president indicated that the power ship would be chartered for a period of 24 months from the date of commencement of the agreement. According to him, the agreement covers the cost to charter the vessel, including its generating engines, as well as operations and maintenance costs. He admitted that while the power ship will see the injection of 36 megawatts of power into the Marara-Berbice interconnected system, the country would still be in need of an additional 60 megawatts of power to meet the growing demand for power. In December, 17 reconditioned generating sets were purchased by the government at a cost of $27 million US. The power problems have continued, although most of those generating sets have been added to the national grid, according to GPL. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Micro, small, medium enterprises can expect significant support in 2024. The sum of $450 million was allocated to the Small Business Development Fund and $331 million for the Small Business Bureau. This will provide for the disbursement of 100 loans and 1,362 grants to businesses. Additionally, 2,800 businesses will receive training in apiculture, farming, livestock, poultry rearing, and micro-enterprise. This and more are initiatives of the 2024 national budget, which is being supported by revenues earned from oil production.
Linden, it's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man to a Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands, Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band, Queen Makiba.
But when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm gonna hear baby that's get me young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. Party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fete for Linden Town Week. Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man to a Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592Ts, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rums. Drink responsibly for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man to a Skylark.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids, or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
The members of the United Nations Security Council have urged Guyana and Venezuela to exercise maximum restraint, reminding the two countries of their obligations to comply with the order of provisional measures issued by the International Court of Justice in December of last year. Last week, the UN Security Council met and discussed Venezuela's latest actions to claim Guyana's Essequibo region. The meeting was held at the request of Guyana and came after the Venezuelan president signed new legislation into law to make Guyana's Essequibo region a new Venezuelan state. In a statement last evening, the UN Security Council underlined the importance of maintaining regional peace and security and ensuring that Latin America and Caribbean remains a zone of peace. While commending the two countries over the Argyle Declaration, which was agreed to when the two presidents met in St. Vincent last December, the UN Security Council urged the parties to resolve their differences through peaceful means and to uphold their obligations under international law and the UN Charter. The Council also stressed the importance of regional actors playing a facilitating role in easing the tension between Guyana and Venezuela. The members of the Security Council reaffirmed the importance of upholding the principles of respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity and the prohibition to any party under threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of another state, as enshrined in the UN Charter. The Commonwealth, the OAS, and CARICOM have all come out in criticism of the recent actions of Venezuela to claim Guyana's territory. While the government of Guyana has welcomed the statement issued by the United Nations Security Council on Venezuela's promulgation of a new law, which purports to incorporate more than 2/3 of Guyana's sovereign territory into Venezuela. In a statement today, the Foreign Ministry said it welcomes the affirmation and stance of members of the UN Security Council. The statement said Guyana welcomes the reaffirmation by members of the UN Security Council of the importance of upholding the International Court's order, the principles of respect for each state's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and the prohibition of the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of another state, as enshrined in the UN Charter. The Guyana government said it hopes that a statement by the UN Security Council will contribute to the maintenance of regional peace and security and to ensuring that Latin America and the Caribbean remains a zone of peace. The statement added that Guyana is committed to the peaceful resolution of the controversy with Venezuela in full accordance with international law through the process of the International Court of Justice, and expresses its gratitude to the members of the Security Council for their valuable consideration of the issue, which Guyana sees as one of great importance for the two countries and the region. Declaring that the government has been investing heavily in the development of Afro-Guyanese since it assumed office, Minister of Tourism Unej Waldron has challenged anyone with credible evidence of discrimination against Afro-Guyanese to come forward, promising that the allegations will be investigated and swiftly addressed. The tourism minister is leading the Guyana government's delegation currently in Geneva, Switzerland, at the third session of the Permanent Forum on People of African Descent. Minister Waldron said the government has been pumping millions of dollars towards local Afro-Guyanese groups to assist them with their work in Afro-Guyanese communities. Earlier in the day, the Minister of Tourism addressed delegates during the opening of the forum, and during her address she expressed Guyana's support for the extension of the International Decade of People of African Descent for another decade.
Guyana looks forward to contributing to the efforts toward improving the conditions of people of African descent, both by supporting the work of this forum and by continuing to craft and implement programs that will redound to the benefit of Guyanese of African descent.
The minister also noted that Guyana, as a multicultural and multi-ethnic society, is mindful of and keen to ensure that its population in its entirety enjoys the best possible quality of life. She added that CARICOM has been at the forefront of demanding reparations for the descendants of enslaved Africans, a position Guyana remains fully committed to. And she also explained that a National Reparations Committee has already been established within the framework of a 10-point plan agreed to by CARICOM. The government has come under criticism from the International Decade of People of African Descent Assembly Guyana after it decided to stop providing the organization with a subvention in the budget. Instead, the government handed over the money to a number of other African organizations in the country. The issue has even engaged the attention of the local courts. A team from the International Decade of People of African Descent Assembly Guyana is also attending the forum in Geneva.
Hi, my name is Keisha Davis, first of 4 siblings. I'm a mom of 3 and I'm an auditor.
My brother Tariq is a transgender man, which means he was born female but now lives as a man. He's always known himself to be.
He's great at math. I'm horrible. And he actually helps my 12-year-old daughter with her math. As soon as he gets home at night, he'll say, "Jazz, let's go. What would you like me to help you with?" She actually got a prize in school for full score at math and English. Tariq is my rock. Like, honestly, my confidant. No matter what it is, no matter how horrible it might look through others' eyes, he doesn't judge. And he is there to support me, to support my kids. I don't know if I will do it up.
Linden, it's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man to a Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands: Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band Queen Makiba.
But when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm unable with that. Get me, young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. Party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fete for Linden Town Week, Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man to a Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592Ts, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rums. Drink responsibly for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man to a Skylark.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Sol Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
Executive member of the People's National Congress Reform, Amanda Walton Desir, has called for leaders and members of the party to unite ahead of the party's internal elections slated for later this year. She also said the party leaders must also ensure that unity is maintained so that the PNC reform could confront the governing PPP at the next general elections. Addressing a town hall meeting in New York over the weekend, the opposition member of parliament said now is not the time for bickering in the PNC reform.
Now I am an elected member of the central executive of my party, and I'm prepared to say publicly that we cannot condone this unity, that this unity has to be frowned upon. But it comes about because we appear not to be able to accept and appreciate that everyone has a role to play.
Walton Desir's comments come as tensions are flaring within the PNC as the party leadership race heats up. 2 weeks ago, opposition member of parliament Roysdale Ford announced his intention to challenge incumbent leader Aubrey Norton for the position of party leader. Mr. Ford has garnered the support of several members of the PNC, including former General Secretary Amna Ali. But Ali's public support of Ford and public statements against Mr. Norton have landed her in hot water. Her comments did not find favor with PNC Chairman Sherwin Holder, who questioned her contributions to the party. For her part, though, Walton Desir said such an attack on Ms. Ali cannot be condoned. She said everyone in the party must not only have a voice, but must also have a role to play.
As a woman in the party, I will not stand for the attack on a fellow woman. And so I denounce the attacks on Ms. Ali. We have to eschew this culture of attacking the women in our party. Every one of them is important. For the PNC, and Amna Ali is important. For the PNC, Avalon Lawrence is important. For the PNC, Carol Smith Joseph is important. And they all have an important role to play.
The party executive said she's frustrated by comments that persons who may have just come into the party are seeking leadership. She said the party should never be one where leaders feel that it is their turn, but the party must position itself to move and change as time demands. She described the situation as sad, but said the PNC must quickly rebound from its internal squabbles since the nation is depending on the party for leadership. There have been reports that Walton Desir herself is considering a run for the leadership of the PNC reform. President Irfaan Ali today confirmed that the government will soon appoint a new chief executive officer at the Guyana Sugar Corporation, Guy Succo, even as it turns to countries like Cuba, India, and Guatemala for technical support to revive the ailing sugar industry. On the sidelines of the Local Content Summit today at the Pegasus Suites, the president in an interview told reporters that a new CEO will be appointed shortly. According to him, the new CEO will be joined by an entire new management team.
So we are working, we have been working aggressively. We have been working aggressively at modernizing Guy Succo, and part of what we are doing is to bring in Guy Succo a new structure. The current CEO will move into a new capacity, and we have a whole team that is coming with external help.
News source understands that former chairman of the Private Sector Commission, Paul Chung, is set to become the new CEO of Guy Succo. The current Guy Succo CEO, Narayan Singh, is preparing to take up a diplomatic appointment in Europe, according to reports. Singh has been leading the state-owned company since September of 2020. It has been a rocky tenure for him, with the main union representing sugar workers, GAWU, repeatedly calling for him to be removed from the position. President Ali said in addition to the CEO and team, specialists will be coming in from Cuba and India to assist Guy Succo.
We're working with Cuba to get some specialists in. We are working with India to get some specialists in. We are working On the modernization side, that would have already started with technical support from Brazil. So a lot has already started.
According to the president, there are a number of challenges confronting the sugar industry, particularly in the areas of human resource development and labor, as well as factory-related issues.
We have to address factory, we have to address agriculture, we have to address human resources, we have to address modernization, we have to address the supply of labor. We are now in the process of bringing all of this together because sugar must be made viable, and we're making the investment to make sugar viable, and it will be viable.
This year, Guyana received $6 billion in subventions as part of the government's efforts to revitalize the struggling sugar industry. That $6 billion is expected to support Guyana's field and factory operations with the hope of turning the industry around. The company received over $20 billion from the government over the past 3 years.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo. From its pristine rivers to its abundant resources, it's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyana is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyana's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyana has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall. In the region, Russia's prosecutor general arrived in Havana for bilateral talks with his Cuban counterpart and other officials. The prosecutor's office said on Tuesday, Russia's full-scale invasion in Ukraine in 2022 has triggered the worst crisis in Moscow's relations with the West since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, according to Russian and U.S. diplomats. After the West slapped what U.S. and European leaders cast as the toughest sanctions ever imposed on a major economy, Russia has turned away from Europe and the United States and boosted ties with countries in Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and Latin America. Reuters said the visit by the prosecutor general to Cuba follows a tour of Latin America countries by Russian Security Council Secretary, a top ally of President Vladimir Putin, in February. In Havana, the prosecutor general said that developing good ties with Latin American and Caribbean states remain one of Moscow's key priorities. A renowned Venezuelan activist was arrested for his alleged involvement in a reported assassination attempt against President Nicolas Maduro last month, the country's Attorney General Tarek Saab said on Monday. Carlos Julio Rojas, a journalist, was arrested on Monday night in central Caracas for being linked and directly identified as an instigator and logistical operator in the assassination attempt against Maduro on March 25, the prosecutor said in a post on X. Reuters was unable to independently confirm specifics of the victim's account, and the Russian Defense Ministry on Monday declined to comment. In a state television broadcast later on Tuesday, SAP said Rojas will be charged with association, terrorism, and instigation to commit a crime and attempted assassination. On March 25, authorities reported the arrest of 2 men near to where Maduro gave a speech after registering as a candidate for this year's presidential election. Rojas' arrest is the most recent in a string of detentions of activists and opposition politicians accused by authorities of being linked to conspiracies against Maduro's government. And finally tonight, international news. Donald Trump's criminal trial on charges stemming from hush money paid to a porn star is not a referendum on his presidency, a prosecutor told prospective jurors on Tuesday in asking whether they could put personal politics aside. According to Reuters, Trump's defense lawyer, in his opportunity to question prospective jurors, pressed them for their opinions on the former U.S. president. Jury selection for Trump's trial got underway on Monday. He faces 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to cover up a hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels shortly before the 2016 election. Daniels says she had a sexual encounter with Trump about a decade beforehand. Trump has pleaded not guilty and denies an encounter took place. The Republican presidential candidate has called the case brought by Democratic Manhattan District Attorney a partisan witch hunt meant to interfere with his campaign to unseat President Joe Biden, a Democrat, in the November 5 elections. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.